Welcome back. Now, South Africa's bond market was in focus today as yields on benchmark notes held steady ahead of tomorrow's medium-term budget policy statement. Investors are weighing fiscal risk against attractive real yields, while today's auction results pointed to strong demand for local debt. Quantitative Analyst at Prescient Investment Management, Vishal Rama, joins us now for a look into the local bond market ahead of the mini budget. Thanks so much for your time today. Now let's start with today's auction, right? Government sold about 3.75 billion rands in bonds. What stood out for you when it comes to demand? And maybe we can start looking at appetite. Are we seeing more appetite from foreign investors or local institutional investors?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, look, I mean, as you mentioned, right, there's been quite a strong auction today. What I've noted over the past couple of weeks is that, in general, more of the back-end bonds have been an issue. So from the 15 plus area of the curve. So today the 42s, 44s, and 48s were in auction. The 48s and 44s were quite well taken up, but the twos, or however, lagged ever so slightly. So a little, not too much of a surprise, but I mean, but disappointing in that sense. But I mean, in general, a strong auction. Expected ever so slightly a stronger one, but it didn't play out that way. But still strong going into MTBPS tomorrow. I think in terms of the allocation, right? So it's been an even split, right? So it's basically foreigners have been playing in the market. They particularly like the 44 area of the curve at this point in time. That's been the one bond that they've been trying to pick up quite a bit of. But then the 48s and the 44s have generally been more of the locals that have been trying to pick up that area of the curve.
And when looking at those yields, what do they say ahead of that budget tomorrow? I know it's not much of a market mover because we aren't seeing any real big adjustments, but more of an update. However, are there any jitters about fiscal discipline and borrowing levels?
For sure, right? I think that's always going to be the concern in going into any budget, for example, or going forward in time, right? I think that, look, the levels right now, they're quite strong. I think as long as we do not get any major surprises at the MTP tomorrow, I don't expect it to sell off. I think it'll be fairly contained and not any, as long as there's no own goals, as you like to put it, where it's discussion of fiscal slippage or high issuance, then we shouldn't see a sell-off in our bond yield curve, and I think it would be fairly contained if there's no surprises on the upside, should I say.
We've also got that S&P credit review coming up on Friday. What's the market expecting, and how could that move yields or move, or rather influence sentiment when it comes to those bond movements?
Yeah, correct, right. So that S&P re-rating should come out during, I think, Thursday, Friday. It'll be, currently we're on BB minus. The expectation is that we go to BB, which will be a good thing, right? Better investment grade. Well, not quite yet in the epsilon where we should be, but moving in the right direction. I think it gives confidence to the market and foreigners in particular to come into our market, into our local market. I think what has been great is obviously being removed from the grey list. That now obviously was a bit of a hindrance for foreigners coming to invest in the South African market. Now, the opportunities and the ability for foreigners to come in will be a lot more easier. And so, that could spur on the local bond market even further. They do like it. So let's see how that progresses.
And we've really seen optimism throughout the year. You speak there about being taken off the grey list, the rand also doing pretty well, commodity prices also working in our benefit. Just looking ahead then, Vishal, what are the key risks that could change this positive tone, right? Whether from a global markets perspective or even here at home?
Yeah, for sure, right? I think, as you rightly mentioned, it seems as though the momentum's with South Africa and moving in the right positive stuff, which is great. I think, as I mentioned, coming to tomorrow, for example, I think as long as there are no major surprises in terms of fiscal slippages or higher issuances of bonds, then we shouldn't see that much of a shift. And if however that does get communicated, that will obviously cause a bit of a sell-off in the market. But globally, I think we have to look at those factors to see what comes up in that space. Maybe that could influence things. I think what one of the factors that we model is complacency within the market, and the way in which we measure that is with a implied volatility of the USD currency. So basically, that just tells you whether the market is complacent or not. And
Yeah.
currently, the levels are on a more complacent level. We're saying, well, at this point in time, market's not expecting any major hiccups.
Okay.
So things change really quickly, and we could see a bit of a sell-off. But as I mentioned, right, I think things are looking positive, and hopefully that momentum can continue with a good MTBPS delivery tomorrow, and then hopefully end the year quite nicely.
All right, let's leave it there. Thanks so much for your time and sharing your insights with us this evening. That was Vishal Rama, Quantitative Analyst at Prescient Investment Management.